and I hope it's okay to say this, but you very kindly shared the draft of your book, and one of the things that I was most struck by in the book was you have this great line about, we often think about the great Silicon Valley founders as technical founders, which they are, but they're also business model geeks. Do you want to talk a little bit about why that might be the case? Is there something that kind of those people have in common that makes them business model geeks? And what do you need? What do you need in a founding team to make that work?
Well, part of the reason why I emphasized that in the book was because I was trying to get what are the places where there's interesting magic in Silicon Valley that can help the rest of the world. Because we actually are all better off the more entrepreneurship there is everywhere. It is an unabridged good for creating not just the products and services of the future, but the jobs of the future. And by the way, China does this too. So I don't mean to say it's only Silicon Valley. China kind of does it in a somewhat different way. But the Silicon Valley question, and this is actually one of the places where I think the culture and the network of Silicon Valley helps, because you get a lot of very smart technologists who come, and some of them are naturally inclined to kind of business model hacking and thinking about new business models. But typically, like when you kind of like listen to standard kind of business school education, it's like, well, here are the only business models and here's what you do. And actually, in fact, thinking and boldly and innovatively about that. Like, for example, well, maybe you can give this away for free, and this is where the business is. Maybe you can make this whole swath of something actually, in fact, less quality than your competitors, but free. And then that gives you essentially an ability to generate an entirely new business that's different. And that kind of business model hacking, when you actually look at it, there's a lot of what happens in Silicon Valley. It's like, and by the way, sometimes it's totally accidental. So Google funded was an enterprise search company. It was we're going to sell these enterprise, we have this great new search technology, and we're going to sell these boxes of enterprise search. And our fallback plan is, well, shoot, we know a lot of people use it online, so we can just put double-click ads, ironically, they later buy double-click, on top of it. Then the ad market falls out. And it's like, oh my God, plan A is not working, our plan B isn't working, well, what do we do? And then they went, well, actually, in fact, there's this interesting pattern of auctioning ads that Overture is doing. We think we have a better idea for how to do that, and let's try it. And it goes to the moon. And the whole notion, for example, I remember my own, because I was at PayPal when they launched it, and I looked at it and said, oh, that's idiotic. They're not taking people's money. Like if they don't get a 1% click-through on the ad, they're just going to stop running the ad. Why don't they take the money? I mean, like they can auction it off and just take the one that offers more money. And then 5 minutes later, I went, oh, no, that's not idiotic. That's genius, right? Like I was being the idiot 5 minutes ago, because it trained the audience on that the ads are search results. That like people will go to Google, type in something, and look at the search results because that's the thing that they may be looking for. Well, that created an economic model that's a behemoth, right? I mean, you know, all of these awesome things that Alphabet's doing, everything from, you know, DeepMind here in London to, you know, Android to, you know, Waymo to all of this stuff. It's all funded by AdWords. And that is business model hacking. And so that's the reason why, unless you're really, really solid on what your business model is, it's always one of the questions you should be asking. And it's one of the valuable things about entrepreneurial networks, because like people aren't born with, oh, I'm a business model hacker. Like I came out of the womb and like, I got an instinct for that. There's a very few people who might naturally think that way. The way most of us, including in Silicon Valley, learn it is through the network. That's why networks like this are so important.